Hello my loves, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. Hi, hello, my name is Loey, and today is super exciting because I am going to be going ghost hunting in a place that I have not visited in over half a year. A lot of you guys may have found me through my first ever collab with one of my best friends in the entire world, Haley Reese. We went to the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel back in like October or November of last year, and we basically did like an investigation in the Marilyn Monroe suite. It was just us meeting for the first time, having the best time of our lives, being terrified. It was literally so scary at the time, the scariest thing that had ever happened to me, like the scariest string of events that I had ever experienced. In the moment of going to the hotel, I was so excited to meet my best friend, you know what I mean? Like, you know when you meet someone who's so special to you and it's just like you connect immediately. I was so excited to meet her. I was so excited to be in Marilyn Monroe's old room. I was really focusing on that and not so much the actual history and ghost stories behind the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. And there's a lot more hauntings than just Marilyn Monroe's ghost. This place is more haunted than even I thought it could possibly be. And that's like saying something because I feel like everything is always extremely haunted. But it's crazy to me how much I missed, and I wanted to give you guys a full rundown of the stories and ghosts at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel because today I'm going back to do another investigation. I'm going to be staying the night there and seeing what happens. I've been very inspired by Shane Dawson's new format of his multi-part series, so that's kind of what this is going to be. I know that I did one of these on my channel with Haley and Andrew regarding Griffith Park, and you guys loved it. So I'm so excited to be doing something like this again, and let's just jump right into the history and the ghost stories of the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. So the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel opened up way back in 1927, making it nearly 100 years old at this point in time. It's obviously gone through major renovations and it is still considered like a boutique hotel. I mean, the rooms are not cheap. It is very beautiful, very upscale. There's always parties and there's beautiful bars, but there's a lot of history to this place that has kind of been erased away by the constant remodels. So many famous celebrities wound up staying here because it's just in the heart of Hollywood. It's really close to the Chinese theater. I literally saw it the other day when I was going to Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. I mean, it's just right in the heart of everything. Marilyn Monroe obviously stayed here. Charlie Chaplin stayed here. A lot of people stayed here for months or weeks or however long while they were filming movies, and it was kind of like their way of climbing up the success ladder, so to speak. So a lot of stars that stayed here may not have even been in their prime when they were staying at the hotel. Obviously, one of the most famous rooms is Marilyn's suite, and you guys can see my video on it down below. I did an entire series with Haley and it was so fun, but her room has not been touched. It hasn't been remodeled. It looks beautiful. The floors are this beautiful historic like wood that hasn't been touched. It's so scuffed, and like you can just see that she really did live there, and I love that they haven't changed anything. But someone that you guys may not have known stayed at this hotel was actually Montgomery Clift, and he stayed in room 928. I tried to swing 928 for today, and unfortunately it is booked out until like the 25th because it is one of the less known haunted rooms, but it's still very haunted in this hotel. He was learning lines for his upcoming movie role in this room, practicing his trumpet, and there are definitely some creepy stories revolving around that room, and it's pretty much thought that he still lingers there to this day. Particularly, you'll see him pacing up and down the floors of the 9th hallway. So even though we don't have room 928, I think we are going to go up to the 9th floor during our stay there and just see if we can make any kind of contact with him. People that stay in neighboring rooms say that they can literally hear him playing his trumpet from room 928 when no one is there, and they'll call the front desk and they'll say like, hey, can you tell this person to stop practicing trumpet? It's like 2 a.m. and no one is practicing trumpet. He has supposedly been seen in this room, like the actual apparition of him has appeared. Maids have claimed that they will feel something cold brush by them when they are cleaning room 928, that they'll just feel unsettled and feel a type of presence in that room that they can't exactly explain away. Some of the maids will even hear someone walking behind them, or just it's weird. They'll just feel like someone's right over their shoulder, and when they check to see, obviously no one is there. This room is a rentable room, so a lot of people who have stayed there also have crazy experiences. One of the creepier stories is the fact that there was a couple who stayed in this room, and the wife was falling asleep in bed next to her husband and felt someone very gently pat her shoulder. When she rolled over to basically say goodnight to her husband, she realized he was fast asleep and there was no way he could have just like patted her shoulder like that. A psychic named Peter James also stayed in room 928, and while he was in the hallway around the room on the 9th floor, he felt a lot of anger and just something kind of unsettled coming from that area. So when he finally went to bed, it was like 2 in the morning, and he experienced what kind of seems like sleep paralysis. He basically awoke feeling as though there was this heavy weight on top of his body and that he could not move, which you guys know is like a very common sign of sleep paralysis. But he couldn't move, couldn't budge, couldn't speak, couldn't do whatever. And finally he managed to kind of wedge his arm out from under the spirit that was on top of him, and he rolled out of the way, but just felt this overwhelming angry spirit there the entire time. And he actually went back to sleep, which I think after that kind of experience I would not have been able to. Before this psychic eventually left the room, he then actually saw a shadowy apparition of this person of Montgomery, and basically saw him just staring at him for like half an hour, and then eventually he just walked into the bathroom and disappeared, which I find to be very, very strange. Obviously, one of the more haunted rooms in this hotel is of course Marilyn's old suite. I had so many experiences in that room that I cannot explain to this day, but so many people claim to see her around her old suite, claim to see her, you know, passing through, or they'll just like feel her presence. There was a mirror in her room that I believe, I don't know where it is now, but it used to be in a room and they took it out because they were just worried about people vandalizing it or whatever, and people would always see Marilyn sort of like staring at herself in this mirror. Can you guys even imagine just like looking at yourself in the mirror and seeing her reflection behind you? Because like that, I love Marilyn, don't get me wrong, but that would scare the crap out of me. Despite the fact of her notorious mirror being gone, people still claim to see her, and I actually did have an experience seeing Marilyn basically in Haley's hair. I know that that sounds so weird, but it was like seeing her face in Haley's like blonde hair while Haley had her back to the mirror. It was a very, very strange experience. I do go more into it in my videos that I did with Haley, but people still see her in the mirrors around. And actually one of the last times that her mirror was in her own room, there was an employee, a maid, like kind of dusting it off and cleaning the room for the next guest, and they saw a sad blonde woman like standing behind them just staring at them in the mirror. And the employee was like, okay, and kind of like turned around to see what was up, and she was gone. But when they looked back in the mirror, she was still there. So it definitely seems like she still lingers. I mean, she lived at this hotel for I think like 2 years, so it doesn't surprise me. It was really where she kind of got her start as a model, and that was what kicked off her whole career and launched her into this like icondom of it being Marilyn Monroe. So I think it's so cool, and I have had so many experiences with her. She is definitely still around her old suite. But it doesn't stop there. It's not just icons that once lived at this hotel that seem to be haunting it. There's so many experiences. People that work at the front desk will claim that they get calls from rooms that they know are vacant, and they'll get requests for things or whatever, and when they go, nobody is there. There's also a little girl named Caroline that doesn't really have a backstory, but people will see her quite frequently around the Blossom Ballroom at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. They will also see her in kind of the main lobby area where everyone enters the hotel to check in, especially in the early hours of the morning. She looks like a real girl. Nobody looks at this girl and sees an apparition or a ghostly figure. She is literally always skipping around and singing in like the main lobby or the ballroom or wherever she's seen, and she looks real until you realize that she's just vanished. She wears jeans with a pink jacket, and her hair is tied into a ponytail. So we'll have to kind of linger around that main lobby area in the ballroom and see if we can get any footage or anything of Caroline. The same psychic who stayed in Montgomery Clift's room actually encountered this young girl and didn't think she was a spirit. She told him her name, which was Caroline, and that she was looking for her mother. And then during a later part of the investigation in the ballroom area, I believe, he saw her again and she was crying, and he asked her what was wrong, and she basically said she was worried about her mother. He comforted her, and to his surprise, she disappeared. There is also a male entity who lingers around the ballroom area in a tux, and sometimes people don't necessarily see him, they'll just sort of feel his presence there, and he's always lingering in the area. Some people believe he was like nominated for an Academy Award or something, and that's sort of why he's lingering at the hotel, because he might never have like risen to stardom that he wanted in this lifetime, and that's just why he lingers in his tux and he's still ready to receive that award. There's also kind of reports from the ballroom that the piano will just start playing itself. If you happen to catch the person who is playing piano, it usually appears to be a different man in a white suit who always disappears once he is noticed, and then the music magically stops. And there are so many other experiences that are unexplainable and not necessarily caused by any one spirit, just restless energy around this hotel. And those stories go everywhere from guards seeing someone swimming in the pool too late and going to reprimand them and then magically being gone, or maids being pushed into closets while they are trying to clean rooms. One of the scarier stories of this is that somebody was basically watching a security camera, right? Like seeing someone like swimming in the pool, walkie-talkies down to a security guard and says, hey, there's someone swimming in the pool. The other security guard goes to go check and is waving at the camera saying, hey, no one's here. And the person who was watching the footage literally saw the arm waving through the person who was swimming's head. Oh my God, like can you imagine? Can you imagine? Sometimes guests will even get like deadbolted out of their own rooms that seem to be locked from the inside, but that's impossible. And that literally happened to Haley and I when we stayed there. That's the first I've ever heard someone else talk about it. So I'm actually kind of excited to have that sort of confirmed, and I wonder if that'll happen again tonight. There have been electrical malfunctions. Phones will magically lift off receivers in the rooms by like a force that pick them up and set them down, and no one can explain it. And you will get calls from these rooms that are empty, and all of these things will happen that just nobody can explain. So the final verdict is that this place is not only very haunted, but it's very haunted in ways that I was unaware of, because I was so entranced with the idea of communicating with like Marilyn Monroe's spirit and staying in her old room and everything like that. And it just seems like the investigation is nowhere near complete. I'm so excited to return, and kind of what you guys can expect in these next couple of videos is just me sort of filming around the hotel, you know, going through the different parts that seem to be haunted and just seeing what we can capture. I know there will be one heck of a story time after tonight, and I am so excited to do this with you all. It is currently 4:47 p.m. I am wrapping up this video, and then I am going to be going to the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel again. I am so stoked, you guys have no idea. And yeah, I'm going with one of my friends and my roommate, and we're gonna have hopefully a very spooky time. Hopefully also a very good time. Hopefully we just go to the bar and like unwind after all of the crazy unfolds. If you guys are excited for this series and what is to come next, go ahead and give me a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I love you all so very much. I cannot wait to share the rest of this with you all, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.